My name is JJ Tavan, standing in for Brima Sango, who's under the weather today. Julius, thank you so much for coming here to Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. How is it going? How are the preparations for Monday going?
All is good. The good thing with the protest is such that you don't have to organize a stage, sound, or anything of that sort. You ought to just mobilize the people, agitate the crowd, conscientize the communities about the problems they are confronted with, and leave it up to them to decide if they want to join the picket lines or not.
Why do you think this is the most effective tool right now to bring the country to a standstill? I'm sure you have heard throughout the last few weeks, different views of people saying, no, just not do it. Others saying, we are going to destroy the economy if you do it. In your view, why is this the most effective thing that is needed right now in the times that we are in?
We've done everything. We've tried to hold the president accountable in Parliament. We've tried to hold the president accountable through the courts. We've left the ruling party to do the right thing by holding him accountable and remove him if possible. All of that hasn't worked. And this is one of the democratic options we have. And it ought to be exercised, and we're doing exactly that. So it can't be that it is the only thing that we've been doing.
Yeah.
We are in courts as well as we speak now about the secret ballot, which did not take place during the debate on the panel report, demanding that the secret ballot should be implemented in order for the outcome to be credible in relation to the panel report.
Yeah.
So picket lines are the most effective way of getting the attention of the authorities. And even before Monday, the authorities are shaking in their boots. Where have we ever seen it that the whole security cluster gets to be called to address the nation about what's going to happen on Monday? The mistake they make is to make Lamola speak. I mean, who will not join a march because Lamola spoke? Like you saw Lamola on TV say, yo, because of Lamola.
No, you was your deputy. You didn't say that 10 years ago.
No, but I'm saying it now that it can't persuade you not to join the march. It can't scare you not to join the march. So there's nothing they can do. It's too late.
Are there legitimate fears about the fact that while the march, is in a sense a protest tool that the EFF has chosen, that it is not universally agreed by others who have the same concerns that you have about power crisis, about corruption, about all the things that are going wrong, all the wheels that are coming off? Asked differently, do you think that it would have been more effective, or it could make the protest more effective, should we have mobilized all levers of opposition to start with, levers of opposition parties in Parliament, NGOs that are sharing your views, etc.? Or do you think that there's no issue about it being more universal to have an impact?
Well, we all like white supervision. That anything that is not approved by white is not acceptable. If Steenhuisen was to announce the same thing that we have announced, you would have gone with it. The problem is that it's a black child of a domestic worker. Who is he to tell us anything? And the white give it upon themselves to supervise black bodies. We marched with the DA against Zuma. Where were these concerns? These are artificial concerns because of that self-imposed supervision over black skin. And we shouldn't allow that. I personally have taken a conscious decision to challenge the white authority and make it realize that it has got no responsibility to supervise us, and to conscientize black people that you can do it without white approval.
If we seek
no white approval.
If we park white approval, what about black parties? I mean, have they supported your cause in terms of joining?
We have extended the invitation to everyone.
To be part.
Yes, we have extended the invitation to everyone.
What has been the response?
The response has been very positive. Many of them, some are in court on the 20th on the same issues. Some have said they will join the picket lines wherever they are. And it's an acceptable thing. But if you listen to the concern, especially from our people, it's not genuine. It's seeking to appear better than others. You speak well, you are more clever than them. That type of an attitude. And we can't, that is the same attitude we want to liberate. So we can't entertain it.
Let's deal with what Mbalula.
But let's look at this. Okay, you're about to ask me about Mbalula. Right?
Yeah, let's deal with what he's saying.
What is he saying?
Do you have that clip of Mbalula? Maybe let's play that, and we can tackle it.
Other people think of shutdowns, which are not going to happen. You will have people marching, but the economy will not be shut down. Because shutdown after shutdown, how do you shut something that is crumbling? When we are working to basically make it work, and then you demand a president who's democratically elected to step aside. Ramaphosa to step aside in next. That thing is not going to happen. Our people do not care who becomes the premier, who becomes a minister. All what they want is how do we resolve their problems? The pothole ki tse di re shebile. Wa kena nthatisi mo mangaumo re tlo mo etsa mayor.
So in addition to this, and I would like you to respond to some of the assertions that he's making, right? He's saying, should there be violence on Monday, the EFF leadership will have to take responsibility.
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
I didn't hear that in the clip, but we can't take responsibility for things we have not sanctioned. We have not sanctioned violence. It is the responsibility of the law enforcement to always maintain peace and order in society. Well, within the marches and pickets of the EFF, there will be marshals, there will be security to make sure that agent provocateurs are isolated and are hand delivered by the EFF to the authorities, because we do not subscribe to violence. And JJ, we have run big marches. Mbalula is going to try and run a march on Friday. We have run big marches and we have never engaged in violence. But let's look at this. The ANC has got a march on Friday. We never said anything about it.
In other words, nobody's complaining.
And on Friday, on a working day, they're going to shut down Tshwane. We're not saying anything about their march. The DA marched to the ANC and then shut down Johannesburg, disturbed traffic during the week. No one said anything. But these stepchildren of South Africa, who don't have rights equal to other children, should not be allowed to do the same thing that other children are doing. And South Africans do not stand up to protect the EFF that they are doing exactly what you are doing.
And business also came out saying, we are going to shut down the economy. Jobs are going to be
this one says, the problem of illiteracy, they don't know how the economy works. Mbalula, school, that's where school comes in. He says there is no shutdown that is not going to happen. People are going to march there. All of business said they are closing on Monday. What is his understanding of shutdown? The problem of illiteracy. That's where it comes in. Transnet said no truck, no train moves. The truck owners and associations have issued warnings. No trucks, no anything moves. The big business, the small business said no one must come to work, including the schools have said we're closing because there is this shutdown. What is he talking about? This is a problem of illiteracy mixed with babbelas. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just hallucinating and blowing hot air.
All right. 011-883-0702. Do you agree with the shutdown? Do you support the shutdown? Call us and engage Julius Malema on why the EFF is engaging in this action. He describes it as part of exercising democracy. Do you think that South Africans have lost a sense of agency in understanding that you don't wait just for the ballot to exercise a vote? I mean, I don't know if you're listening, coming here, but there are a lot of people saying, oh no, well, people can wait for the elections if they want, and they cannot be so unreasonable as to call for the president to resign, right? talk to me about the agents, your own sense as you are mobilizing. The people understand the power that they have, not just to protest, but to make a change, a serious change in governance.
I forgot to mention that Mbalula says no one is going to call for resignation of the president because it's undemocratic to do so. This president has been elected democratically. Yeah. That's what he does when he sings for supper. Because go back, he says the same thing about Zuma. And then what happens later? The ANC says to Zuma, they were saying to us, he's democratically elected, you must resign. And Paul Mashatile goes to parliament to say, if this man is not resigned, we're going to support the motion of no confidence. The current deputy president of the ANC, we're going to support the current motion of no confidence against the president. Was that a ballot? Because the constitution provides different kind of methods within which a president can be removed. But ballot is but one of those methods. And therefore the politically illiterate will think that is the only method. It is not. Through a motion of no confidence, through impeachment, through pressure on the president to resign. By the way, the president has resigned. If you remember, he had written a letter after the Pala report and after the panel report, the president had resigned. Was there a ballot? So that alone answers the illiterates who are saying, no, we can remove through a ballot. The constitution will not have allowed all these other options if ballot is the only method within which we remove a president. So the constitution answers that. And this is one of those methods. We can put the necessary pressure, South Africa, on Monday by standing firm, by demanding that the president should step down because our country has gone to the dogs, and anyone who's going to come in has to do better than what this president has done.
I want to link this whole democratic discussion to what has happened in Tshwane. Right? You've just told me now about the motion of no confidence. You are going, the secret ballot. You're going to court to try and get that overturned so that that vote can happen in secrecy, so to speak. In Tshwane, the DA gets its councillors to write down a number in a ballot, and they are arguing that no, it's part of democracy because it's quite clear how they want to vote, why they want to vote. Secondly, that they don't want their councillors to do their own thing. Thirdly, and I think Kone Molde was one who was saying this, that the secret ballot has been used now for bribery to happen, for people to change their votes. Your views about that, and we can also add what you think about what happened in Tshwane. It sounds like a mess.
You can't do what you did because there ought to be only one mark indicating the intention of the voter. And any other thing is a spoiled ballot. And therefore, the DA understands that, you know why? They've been voting longer than us. And they know what a secret ballot is. Because the white minority voted long before us, and they should be knowing these are the practices that are acceptable, these are practices that are not acceptable. If it was one of us, you will say, this is new to us. We're only turning 30 years of democracy. We haven't been voting for that law. So they can go wherever they want to go. They can't win that case. The law, because it envisages the possibility of bribes, it then says to bribe anyone, it's an illegal offense. And if you've got evidence to that effect, the law takes care of that. So that's why the secret ballot will never be used as a weapon for bribery, because that bribery is punishable. And you ought to develop means and mechanism as an organization internally to ensure that your party position is seen through by those who represent your party.
But you don't think he has a point at all to say the secret ballot, with all its good intentions, has now been abused? We have seen today a councillor was taken to a police station for bribing somebody with the amount equal to their salary and what have you. So it's a real thing that has happened. There are many rumors also about in Johannesburg how all of that has happened and money is exchanging hands. Is it something you are worried about that is taking root in our politics, especially in the dawn of coalitions?
No, you have been giving people food parcels during elections. What is that? Is that not bribery? You give me food parcels not beyond my salary. I don't even have a salary. Is that not a bribe? We've spoken about this, that these kind of things are a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
But you can't stop them. You ought to conscientize society that this is just for that day. There are many years ahead of this thing that you are doing. Politicize, conscientize your councillors. Your councillors, JJ, is supposed to be the most advanced detachment of the kind of caliber of cadreship you have. Such that nobody can just easily bribe them. Actually, they should come back to the leadership and say, we got this offer, so that we develop the mechanism together with the Hawks to catch this councillor who want to bribe other councillors, because the law takes care of that. And therefore, we shouldn't be worried. There will be temptation from time to time from political thugs who will want to do such activities. Do we have a recourse? If the answer is yes, democracy is safe.
Conor Moldan, I would like you to respond to him, says that the only reason the ANC has not put up a candidate is that the EFF won't support that candidate. And he's also saying the only reason the EFF hasn't put up a candidate is that they believe the ANC won't put up a candidate, and therefore they use what he termed puppet mayors, right, to be in the front because of the deadlock between the ANC and the EFF. Your comment?
It means those DA mayors that we put before, they were also puppet because we didn't vote for non-ANC members for the first time. So Simang from today is a puppet, confirmed by Mulder, that anything EFF votes for is puppets. Because we voted for Solum Simang, we voted for Herman Mashaba, and we voted for many others, DA mayors. Why were they not called puppet? Because they've got white supervision that has monitored the black skin. And in the absence of white supervision, it is illegal, it is corrupt, and therefore it is puppeting. It was not called a puppet when it was favoring white supremacists. So it always shows its ugly head everywhere. It can't hide itself. You do the same thing you did with them yesterday, but when you do them with a different person, they've got names for those things because they are not there to supervise that black people are doing the right thing. It's true. We can't vote for the ANC. And I will not agree, I will speak for the ANC if it can't vote for the EFF. But we can vote for the mayor of the ANC because we don't believe that the ANC has got the best candidate, especially in Tshwane. Sputla messed up that place. Tshwane is where it is.
It's going to fix electricity.
The logic of these ones who think that they are governing better. They are the ones who removed Sputla and brought Toko Didiza. What happened? The ANC shut down Tshwane. Where was this noise when the ANC violently shut down Tshwane? There were no security cluster that called a press conference to say this is what we are going to do to the criminals of the ANC who shut down Tshwane because they were supporting Sputla and others were supporting Toko Didiza. If Sputla was the best mayor, why did they remove him? And even when the situation became so violent, they were not even prepared to consider returning Sputla. That's how bad he was. The ANC lost votes in Tshwane.
But didn't you vote for Dada? Didn't you vote for Dada in Joburg before they betrayed you in Ekurhuleni?
My guy, the ANC has never been voted for by the EFF. We fold our arms. When the numbers favors them, because if we vote with the other side, they lose. So when we have a situation where the DA has completely rejected the EFF and said it wants nothing to do with the EFF, and the other side can possibly emerge without the EFF vote, and outside the DA, we fold our arms.
But you did let it happen. You let it happen for Dada to be there and for Dada to be removed.
No. Am I
not right?
No.
Put differently, if you wanted Dada to be there, he would have been there because you would have added your voice to being in.
Absolutely.
But don't you think, Julius, all this thing is impacting on the citizen? I mean, the chaos in Johannesburg, I don't know, I've lost count now of how many mayors we have. We now have a mayor, who with 3 seats there. Right? Tshwane doesn't have a mayor. Maybe they'll have a mayor tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so on. Tell me what you feel about how this impacts the citizen, number one. Number two, should we end up in a national situation of coalition, what do the EFF do to stabilize that arrangement so that it serves the people, at least for a solid 5 years, consistently?
We've got a problem of the DA, where the opposition should consolidate and outmaneuver the ANC. You have a Helen Zille who has become extremely arrogant and racist, and she doesn't listen to logic. There is no instability in municipalities caused by anyone except the white supremacist attitude of the DA. Herman Mashaba, with all his weaknesses of being new in politics and not knowing how they work, and all those other parties are more than willing to compromise and work together and remove the ANC from power. Nobody has ever taken the DA head on to take full responsibility for the mess we find ourselves in. How do you, as opposition parties, instead of consolidating, isolate one of the major players in a municipality based on ideological differences, when this party has made it very clear during its own manifesto launch that it doesn't matter you are DA or ANC or anyone, we now have to patch potholes. And potholes require no ideological orientation. They need all men who are prepared to work the ground.
Yeah.
And we've got such men and women. If the DA comes to the party, I can tell you now, there will be stability in the municipalities and the ANC will be out in the cold. But the DA's arrogance and its attitude, they're so hatred of the DA on the EFF is such that they are prepared to let everything go because they will never allow to work with the EFF.
I need to take a break now, but before the break, do you therefore say that come 2024, you would rather coalesce with the ANC rather than a DA? I'm just picking those two.
No. I'm saying to you, if the DA comes to the party,
you coalesce with them.
The idea is to consolidate the opposition parties and give this country an alternative of opposition parties running this country.
So you haven't ruled out working with them. You're just saying at the moment their arrogance is making it difficult.
They ruled us out and they said under no circumstances will we ever work with the EFF.
Do you rule out a ANC coalition, ANC EFF coalition in 2024? You don't rule it out. All right, let's take a break. A lot of people fascinated by the two nathering, right, between the ANC and the EFF. Is this something we can look ahead to in 2024? This scenario that Paul as president, you as deputy, something that you would rule out?
Put it differently. If you put that differently, we won't rule it out.
No, I'm not putting it differently.
No, but why should it be the other way around?
No. In other words, when people vote for you, they must understand that you could end up working with the ANC.
No, when people vote for me, they must understand I can be the president.
Sure, all right.
Yes.
Let's say you don't become president and you have to pick between the DA and the ANC. Is anybody ruled out? I want to ask that again.
No. We have always put the conditions, and you know that.
Yeah.
Even in the past local government elections, we have said that we will rather have this agreements before we can even talk about positions. And we did that with the ANC. They refused. We did that with the DA. We refused. And we said, because the two are refusing, what is the immediate challenge? The immediate challenge is to root out corruption, and therefore we'll rather go with the DA even when it doesn't agree with our conditions. And we immediately removed the ANC. And the DA forgot how it got into power and became very arrogant towards us.
Let's deal with the scenario where the DA comes to you now, they are less arrogant, and maybe they have a new leader, whatever it is. Right? Do you see a scenario where the DA has higher votes than you in the coalition of the opposition, for example? You are, let's say, number 2, then there are smaller parties, where where a John Steenhuisen become president and you deputy? I want a straight
It
answer.
will never happen.
Let's take some calls.
That one.
Simpiwe, good evening. Simpiwe, good evening.
Good evening, Judge. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm all right.
Go for it.
Yes. I'm saying now. I for one, I just want to express my view in as far as the national shutdown is concerned, and say that, personally, the people that are feeling the pinch are us on the ground, and I support what the EFF is doing, because if you look, all what is happening around is that people are just having inputs, as verbal inputs, but there is no practical element that accompanies their verbal statement. So I am in full support to say that it cannot be that we can suffer for 2 years during COVID, and when the EFF is saying for one day, let us go there and demonstrate the dissatisfaction of the masses of our people, particularly with the load shedding. We are suffering the most. I run a small business, I can tell you now. So you can only imagine the kind of impact that the load shedding has for me, a township guy that runs a small business.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine with major corporate companies and the number of people that are continuously losing their job. These excuses that the people are putting out there to say that, no, people must go to school and children must go to work and all those other things. It's just one of those things, it's just people pushing, singing for supper, if you want to call it that, and wanting to protect the positions that they're circulating in, because there is no practical change.
All right, Simpiwe. All right, thank you, Simpiwe. Let's talk to Mike in Naturena. Mike, good evening.
Hi, JJ, how are you?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's CIC.
Yeah, Baba.
We are very happy to have you in our lives. We are blessed, and we want you to continue doing what you are doing. You are a star to us. You are a blessing. God has given us you, and we are going to cherish you forever. Keep on. Don't let go. Put the pressure on. We are with you 100%.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. On Twitter, someone is asking what happens when the president doesn't step down, because clearly there's going to be chaos on Monday. Secondly, after removing Ramaphosa, which party will be fit to run the country? That's another tweet that comes in there. What are the key things that Juju is hoping to achieve with a march? Have the marches before been effective in the recent past? And maybe let's answer those three callers quickly.
Marches have been very effective. We are where we are because we marched and demanded accountability from the previous president, demanded accountability from the people who were accused of interfering with the running of business in South Africa. It was the marches that brought all of that to our attention. Marches are working on daily basis in the township. Our people stay for long without this or that in the township. Only when they rise as a community do the councillor listen. If the president doesn't step down, we'll continue to demand his stepping down.
Yeah.
The shutdown is not a 21st birthday party where you're going to celebrate and that's it. It's a launching of a campaign where the president must be put under pressure to step down and we get a proper president. And that president is talking to JJ now.
Your estimation is that Ramaphosa may well resign out of this pressure, or the people around him who persuaded him not to resign in December are still in place and they will still stand on his way of resigning. Your own are just political assessment.
You can't defeat the power of the masses. I mean, his resignation was not necessarily about the panel. The response that the panel got and said, yeah, we are. The man has to step down. The man felt the pressure of the masses. JJ, when you write a resignation as a leader, you took that conscious decision alone. You are alone. Your wife is not there. No one is there. You had a conversation with yourself and you came to a determination. And that's why when we take such decision, we normally don't consult.
Yeah.
You take it alone and then you go to the chaps and say, chaps, I'm stepping down. For some reason, he went to listen to those chaps and then he retreated. But his conscience has left the body. We are dealing here with an empty soul. So the guy has got no conscience because he has long resigned, and you forced him to to continue to be the president. I can tell you now, you have been in a workplace for a very long time. There is no worker who has ever been forced to stay on and stayed on and became productive. Because that worker has all told you, I'm leaving, I've taken a decision, it's not good for my health, it's not good for my family, I'm leaving this position. And then you come with all manner of incentives to persuade them to stay there. They are never productive. The reality of the situation is like that. Yeah. He's waiting for them to say to him, but Chief, why are you not doing this? Why are you doing this? Why do you create a Minister of Electricity against the fresh ANC decision that ESCOM must go to the energy?
Quickly,
and then he will say to them, I told you I want to leave, Mos. Why do you tell me those
Quickly,
things?
what's your assessment of the Paul Mashatile dynamic and why there seems to have been a little bit of delay or even resistance to make Paul Mashatile the deputy? Quickly.
No, but he went to the officials and said he needs a female to be a deputy. It was Nomvula, it was Mbalula, and others who said to him, don't count us in. It's your decision, it's your prerogative, but don't count us in because we don't agree with that decision. He doesn't want Paul. For what reason, I don't know. And the only reason that comes to my mind all the time is that Paul may not have the necessary proximity to the white monopoly capital. And the white capital may not be confident about Paul, and therefore it has run out of ideas as to who could be a possible president. So Paul might be a president who is not wanted by the owners of South Africa.
Sooner rather than later, do you think that Ramaphosa will finish his term?
Ramaphosa can go at any time. Even that public protector's report, which has got many mistakes, you can see that they are trying to cook something just to protect the man. But it is not a matter that we can confidently say this guy will stay for long. He will not stay for long.
Tsepo in Polokwane, good evening.
Hello?
Tsepo, go for it.
Yes, sir.
Go for it, Tsepo.
Okay, thank you. Hi, JJ.
Hello, Tsepo. Come on, go for it.
All right. No, I just wanted to assure the Commander-in-Chief that as the members of the society, we are very much willing to go and put our body on the line for the upcoming shutdown, and then also send a very strong message to those who are willing to provoke us, in particular the state violence, that we will indeed defend ourselves should they attempt that. And unlike Sharpeville, unlike Sebokeng, unlike Marikana, we won't defend ourselves with stones. We'll defend ourselves with whatever the state sent as us. If the state sent stones, we'll defend ourselves with stones. And if the state sent bullets, we'll defend ourselves with bullets. That is the message we are having to the state. But the shutdown cannot be stopped by anyone. Thank you very much.
All right, Tsepo. Shutdown cannot be stopped by anyone. And Becky Gele, speaking exactly about this, let's take a listen to what he had to say earlier.
The ministers of JCPS cluster have noted the planned protest action called by some groupings for Mondays. We have also noted the mobilization undertaken in various communications platforms for members of the public to join the protest action. Government louds residents and business who refuses to be intimidated or bullied, and assures them that everyone in South Africa and their property will be protected. Want to assure everyone in the country that the 20th of March will be a normal business day. Want to reiterate to our international community that, contrary to the pronouncement by those advocating for any disruption, all ports of entry, land, sea and air will be operational. Measures have been put in place to ensure that everyone who wants to go to work, travel for leisure, and conduct business on this day does so in a safe and secured environment. Law enforcement officers will be out in their numbers to protect them while enforcing the law. Anyone who intimidates, stops anyone from going to work, barricades the roads and highways, and uses any form of violence to try and stop our people from going on with their lives will face the full might of the law. Finally, those who will be participating in any form of protest action around the country must ensure that they do so in a peaceful manner. No form of violence and criminality will be tolerated. The Constitution guarantees the right to protest peacefully and within the ambit of the law, and protesters must not infringe on the rights of any other citizens of the Republic of South Africa. I thank you.
Comment?
Well, it's Biggie is a certified fool. So he says Monday is business as usual. I read to you big businesses in South Africa which said we're closing. So what is business as usual? So unless he's not listening to himself, there's no one who threatened any violence. No one. No one has threatened any property.
What did you write to businesses to close in the CBD? And what was your message to them?
We didn't write them to close. We said there is a shutdown on the 20th of March. Please be advised so that you can make your preparations accordingly. And the business understood that this shutdown is necessary. For that matter, won't be opening. I mean, one of the guys, as I was giving them a letter, said to me, I'm going to tell my workers to go to the protest. And if they don't go to the protest, they must come to work and sit outside so that I can know where they are. I don't want them to claim they've been to a protest and they've not been to a protest.
Any resistance on business in particular? I heard the CEO of Business Unit South Africa spitting fire that this thing is not good for the economy and so on. I must be honest, I didn't hear what black business had to say, etc. But was there any resistance in your view of your action, particularly in business? Secondly, Santaco, the taxis, tell me about the meeting. What came out of it in brief terms?
Well, we went to brief Santaco and they were so welcoming, and they said to us, we thank you for having recognized us as an important stakeholder, and you know that we are apolitical. And the president of Santaco said, we've got deep members belonging to different political parties. If there are any members of the association who want to go and join the EFF, we will not stop them. But we cannot make such a pronouncement as Santaco. And we even made an understanding that there are some regions of Santaco, by the way, who have agreed with the EFF that they will go and be part of the protest, especially in the Western Cape. The taxis have made it very clear. But the
bottom line of Santaco is that they're not supporting the shutdown.
They never said they are not supporting the shutdown. Or they said they are apolitical.
They are neutral.
Yeah, they are apolitical. They don't get involved in politics. And but they wish us well.
If they wanted the shutdown, as they have threatened before themselves, would the EFF support such a shutdown?
No, they've not threatened before. They've done it. There's a point where they went to close the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
Over the regulations.
They closed the roads and all all of that. And we supported them.
And you'll support them. So aren't you,
we'll do it again.
So aren't you a bit disappointed that they seem to be ambivalent in coming out clearly to say they support you on your shutdown?
How do you get disappointed on a girl who never proposed? We never proposed Santaco. We never said, hey, baby, let's go to a shutdown.
Why were you even meeting with them?
It's an important stakeholder courtesy of saying, as people who are staying in the same yard, there will be activities tomorrow. Please don't be inconvenient. Make other alternative if there is a need to do so, because we're occupying the streets and they are permanently on the streets. So you're going to inconvenience them. So just be courteous, We're nice people, and that's what we did.
What does success look like of the shutdown?
The success looks like what has already happened. Everywhere has been announced we're closing, because the international community must know that we have a president who's a money launderer. In South Africa, we've got a president who stuffs monies in the couches and in the sofas. We've got a president who says, I got the money from this guy, and SARS says this guy that you're talking about has never declared. We have no file of such a person in our records. And therefore, naturally, we must admit the president was in a possession of illegal money in foreign currency that was not declared to SARS. And therefore, he was involved in money laundering. And therefore, he must be arrested and go and answer those questions. You know, JJ, I refuse to sit back. Yeah. I don't care who says what. Let history judge me. Because our grandchildren are going to ask us the question, what have you done when the situation was like this? And I will say, no, there were people who said this is unnecessary. Something that brought us this freedom. Today we call it unnecessary protest.
Right. Let's take some more calls as we round off the conversation. Terence, good evening.
Good evening, JJ.
Evening, Terence. Go for it.
Yes, I just want to say to the CIC, I believe where you are, the initiative that you're taking is one of the best that the country needs, and you're going to take us forward. I'm saying Viva Monday, paint the country red. I think this is the only way that the government can understand the frustration that the people have on the ground. So viva to the CIC, all the best of the protest Monday. We're joining in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Terence. Sipo, good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, JJ. I don't mean to waste anyone's time. But when the EFF was not doing anything about this thing, people were saying, where is the EFF? At some point, people were saying that the EFF was soft on Ramaphosa because Zuma is out or blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what you do. If people are saying the shutdown is not good, what is good? Why can't they come with those brilliant ideas if they exist? And people must stop criticizing from their cushions because we might think that they're sharing that money from Palapa. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's some more questions from WhatsApp. What can we get measurable KPIs for MMCs? I see now you've got an MMC in Gauteng. Yeah. You could comment on it. What was the outcome of a meeting with the EFF? Okay, that's already been answered. Why do you think you should be the president of the country? Should if Ramaphosa resigns? And how do you make sure that anyone coming in as the president is the right one? Or are you guys just playing political games with the electorate? And finally, I would like to ask Julius, why is he always calm on his interviews but harsh and ungovernable when he's at the parliament?
Well, the stages are different and therefore require a different kind of approach. I'm here to share as much as I can. Yeah. And in Parliament, I've got only 5 minutes as an opposition to make my points heard. Outside that 5 minutes, then I create other minutes for myself through point of order and exigency so that I can have more airtime in Parliament and get my points ahead as fast as possible. So it's a very, tight space and you have to fight for your presence. Otherwise, you'll disappear.
In retrospect, do you think it was a good idea to go with a placard onto the stage where the president was?
I'll do it again. It's a protest. The best form of saying I come in peace is when your hands are up. So the hypocrites have forgotten that because it was done by Malema. I'm entering the stage with my hands up, holding a placard. How will that be a threat of life?
How did the correspondent
placard become a threat, a weapon?
Compared to its offenders, what do you make of that? You heard that?
Its offenders is a revolutionary. The offenders acts were the most welcomed acts. Yeah. And I was so disappointed in Mantashe calling Verwoerd his prime minister, and for the ANC chairperson to call an apartheid prime minister his prime minister. But it confirms Gwede's credentials. He hasn't been long in the movement, so he wouldn't know.
We don't have time
which
to
one
explore.
is a prime minister or
yeah,
what.
sure. We don't have time to explore too many things, and I hope it won't be the last time we have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I want to quick comment on the following: energy crisis, Minister of Electricity. Do you think that was necessary, and so on? And
that's a miscarriage of history. That should not have been.
But you
done.
don't think the guy is energetic as an engineer and all of that?
No. He's a phrase monger. He throws a lot of phrases, and that fascinates Mbalula, because after that guy speaks, Mbalula looks for dictionary to hear what that guy was saying and says, for the first time I hear someone saying something.
Yeah.
What is it that Sputla said which has not been said before? So he will not do anything.
Yeah.
A man who's a president, who is decisive and knows what he wants, he would have either removed Gwede or Pravin.
Why didn't he do that, in your view?
Because that is his cabal. That is his groupings.
So he'd rather add a third minister.
Yeah, rather create non-existing thing. I mean, they called him all manner of names. There's not me. They said he's a manager, he's a coordinator,
project manager.
Project manager. How do you call your colleague a project manager? Because you're supposed to be at the same level.
Yeah.
They knew he's a minister of nothing. So you guys are fascinated by things that the guy could not manage a metro. Why not reading Eskom? Here vurva ka mokare kopan. Uta etsa Sputa with those ugly dances. He won't succeed. He's bound to fail. Because it's a setup. Do you think
if you're a president, how do you resolve
it? So Junior can tell Pravin what to do as a shareholder in Eskom. Sputa as a junior, can he tell Mantashe what to do as a policymaker in relation to Eskom? And the two arrogant men who think they've got a hold of a president, you can't tell them anything. If I was a president, I would have invested more on generation. Yes, we need IPPs, but we need to make sure that we revive our infrastructure, we service our infrastructure, and get the best capable men like Sipho Maseko to go and become the CEO of Eskom. I don't care whether it's EFF or ANC. The man has turned around Telkom and made it to be what it is.
Do you think they should rather have made Sputla the CEO of Eskom?
Who? Not Sputla. No, Sputla is born a failure. He can't do anything. He's a socialite that is obsessed with self and cannot deliver anything you want. Look at President Mbeki and Mujangu. He brings Advocate Mujangu into his office, knowing very well that this lady is from Azapo, but knowing her capacity and her loyalty to the flag of South Africa. We need men and women, not ANC cadres. A person who has been teaching biblical studies to become a CEO or a technical manager in a municipality. We have reached a time where we must go out and call for South Africans, black and white. Do you love the flag? Can you hold the flag next to your heart and kiss it? If you are so in love with the flag, this is your position with your qualification. Turn this thing around.
Last remark, you and Dandalax on each other's throats. What's the deal there? Can't you pull together and with the people of your kind of influence and stature to work together towards resolving problems that are affecting your constituency, which is truly joint, if one may say.
Who's that?
Yeah, there's way two people.
No, I'm saying who are you talking about? Who's that?
It's my next guest,
Dandalax. I don't know those things. I'm international.
But you do know what
I'm international. Cuba, if you go there and say Julius Malema.
Have you ever met and talked with him?
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no time for things. I've got time for beings. So I don't know what you're talking about.
We're going to have to leave it there.
Yes.
Julius Malema not wanting to comment on Dandalax, but Dandalax is my next guest after the news. We'll talk to him. But all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here. All right.